Today I'm going to make low-carb buffalo chicken pizza, and I'm starting out with some low-carb flours, 3/4 cup of carbulose, 3/4 cup of wheat protein isolate 5000, an 1/8 cup of oat fiber, and an 1/8 cup of flax meal, golden flax meal. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to that. And I'm using rapid rise yeast, and I'm going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. This is a pizza recipe that I've always used before my low-carb days, and I've just taken it and added some low-carb flours and done it this way. And this is rosemary, and I'm just using about a half a tablespoon of rosemary to your taste. You don't want it to overpower, but it does really add. And then I'm sprinkling some garlic powder, and I didn't measure it, I'm just sprinkling it on. I like a lot of garlic, so I use a lot of garlic powder in there. And it makes a really yummy crust. And then I'm going to add a cup of hot water, and you want it to be 125 to 130 degrees. And that's, in our case, about as hot as we get out of our tap water. I'm just stirring it in, mixing it all up until it mixes into a ball. And then I discovered here that I forgot something. Okay, this is the flour I'm going to use to knead the dough with. And I think I used about 1/4 of a cup of regular wheat flour, but I discovered at this point that I forgot to add a teaspoon of sugar. And I also forgot to add my olive oil. You want to add a tablespoon of olive oil and a teaspoon of sugar or honey to your dough and mix that in. And it turned out pretty well anyway, even though I mixed it in at the end here. And then you want to just lightly flour your surface and scrape it out of your bowl. And then you're going to knead it for about 5 minutes. And it works just like regular yeast dough. And I just sprinkled just enough so that I can knead it, so I can work with the dough. And I start out with 1/2 cup of flour, but I only used 1/4 cup of that flour to knead it in there. And it works out to about 2 usable carbs per slice of pizza. This is actually going to make enough dough for 2 pizzas. You want to knead your dough for 5 minutes until it's smooth and elastic. And I'll have the recipe on my blog with all the ingredients and the nutrition information. And this is what it's going to look like after it's kneaded for 5 minutes. It looks like regular pizza dough. It's just nice and smooth and elastic. And so you're going to want to, I just usually warm up my oven for about 2 minutes and turn it off. And I cut the dough in 2. This is going to make 2 pizza doughs. And you can oil one of them, wrap it in a oiled saran wrap and stick it in your freezer for later. And it works really great. And the other one I just oiled and formed into a ball. And then I oiled a piece of saran wrap and I put it on my pizza pan and covered it and put it in my warmed up oven and let it rise for 30 minutes. And here it is, all ready to rise. Meanwhile, I'm cooking my chicken, my buffalo chicken. I've got about 2 cups of cubed chicken pieces there, sprinkling it with garlic powder, lots of garlic powder. Again, I didn't really measure. I just sprinkle it on. Add some salt, just sprinkle it on. Stir it in, and then I put some hot sauce, good Texas hot sauce on there. You can use your favorite brand, whatever you like, and just sprinkle it on enough to cover all the pieces really well. And then just stir it around and let it simmer just a few minutes. I put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan before I added the chicken. Stir it and simmer it 5 to 10 minutes, or it doesn't take much. Then let that sit, and here is our dough all risen, ready to spread out on the pan. You want to make sure your pan was oiled really good, and then I oiled my hands also. And then I just press down and spread it around, and it's going to make a really thin crust. If you want a thicker crust, you could use the whole thing instead of dividing it into 2 crusts. But I think it tastes better, and then you save on carbs too if you split it in 2. Make a thin crust pizza. Worked really well. And here's what it's going to look like when it's all done. I have my pizza pizzaz pan here that I'm doing mine on, but you can do it on a regular pizza pan. For the sauce, I used Hidden Valley dressing, about 4 tablespoons to half a cup, depending on how many carbs you want and how many, how thick you want it. You can use blue cheese dressing, is really good too. I had Hidden Valley Ranch, so that's what I used. This is Fiesta Blend shredded cheese. I like this really well for this pizza. This is just cheapest brand at Walmart that I use, but I really like it. Whatever your favorite cheese is, it'll work. And then you're just going to spread your seasoned chicken on top here. Nice and spicy. It's really good with all the flavors blended together when you're done. It's really great. You can add whatever type toppings you want. I added some bacon pieces. I like bacon on everything. And then I had some chopped marinated artichoke hearts I just bought from a jar in the store, and I had some chopped up roasted red peppers that I added too. Both which are very low carb, and especially overall adding them to the whole pizza just doesn't add very much. It's pretty low carb topping. And that's what it's going to look like. And I did find some garlic flavored, tomato and basil garlic flavored feta cheese that I actually added to the top of this too, which I didn't show on the video here, but that really added to it too. Pizza pizzaz for 16 minutes, or a 425 degree preheated oven for 16 minutes. And this is what it turns out like when you pull it out. Very, very good. And here it is. Regular pizza. Tastes like the real thing. Hope you enjoy it.